What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be taking a look at a title called Tower of Kalemonvo. This is a game that I've played for probably the last 3 or 4 hours or so, and I think I'm ready to render my first impressions on the demo that they have available prior to the game's release at the end of this year. I was kind of like waiting to see if I was going to cover the final release or if I was just going to go for it right now. I don't think things are going to change too much in the next month, so we'll go ahead and knock out the video right this second. And as you may have noticed, this is a game that's drawing very, very heavily on Diablo 1, its aesthetics, and also its gameplay. I'm guessing that whatever developer is making this title thinks that Diablo 1 was the absolute apogee of action RPGs, and so for the next 30 minutes we're going to be playing the game, checking it out. I will be letting you know how I feel about the title as we move on through. If you wanted to check out this demo, this is a demo that's publicly available to everyone. Anybody can go check this out right now, and you can play the exact same build that I'm playing around with. Get your feet wet with it and see if it's one of those things that tickles the old nostalgia nerve. There's also links down there to my Twitch stream, my Discord, all that other kind of fun stuff if you wanted to hang out live. But let's go ahead and hit this thing. So as mentioned, Tower of Kalemonvo, it's pushing in the opposite direction of 90% of the action RPGs that you're going to see nowadays. And that's actually a really, really interesting task for me personally, because I really, really, really like modern action RPGs. I'm an avid Path of Exile player. I've played a lot of Grim Dawn. I've played a ton of Diablo 3, Diablo 4. I've even played all the weird little knockoff titles that people have never even heard of, things like Loki and whatnot, that tried to challenge the throne over the years. And so this game is actually pulling in the opposite direction of my personal preference. I like my action RPGs to be faster and more churny and burny, and I love running around the map with 200% movement speed and clicking my mouse one time and everything on the screen dies. However, I'm also in a unique position because I was there when Diablo 1 released, and I distinctively remember my cousin got it. My parents wouldn't get it because my family was hyper-religious, like, think Mennonites. My family was super religious and kind of like anti-technology growing up. And so my cousin got it, and he lived next door. And so I went over to my cousin's house, and we played the game pretty much the entire weekend. I'm pretty sure we slept probably about 3 hours in between Friday and Monday. And so I have a pretty good reference point for what original Diablo was like. And I'm happy to say this game actually really captures that. This is a game that definitely has the theming and sort of the ambience and sort of that creeping dread of what's inside of the next room before you even go inside of there. The mechanics themselves, even down to the UI and the way that your character controls, are designed intentionally clunky in a lot of ways to emulate that. And so I'm under no illusions that this is going to be a game for everybody, but I do think this is definitely going to be a game for somebody, and I have enjoyed the last 3 or 4 hours that I've spent with the demo. So for right now, the game starts out pretty simply. You're just a guy, and at the beginning of the game, it asks you what weapon do you want to equip before you go into the dungeon, and you pick a weapon. You get to pick between a sword, a shield, you can get yourself a bow, or you can grab yourself a wand, which allows you to attack from a distance. I went with a sword and shield because I am a paladin purist in Diablo 2. Pretty much paladins are the only thing that I play in that title. And the entire goal of the game is for you to climb an ancient wizard's tower that's had a shield around it. The shield has gone down, and you're like the one person brave enough to go inside of there and figure out what the hell is going on. And so this is us on the first floor. We've started out, we've gotten some decent gear so far, found myself a cape, I've got a shield and some other stuff. I need to bait some of these melee mobs back around the corner. You are going to have to do this kind of old school style. Think roguelike, because when you die in this game, I also get the vibe that this game is meant to be played in hardcore mode, and in fact, I found that if I treat death as a permanent in this game, it's much, much, much more fun for me personally, just because there's a lot of variance in the way that your first couple floors go and the equipment that you find and the stuff that's going to make your life a little bit better. We've leveled up. This game follows the old school Diablo formula of allowing you to apply your own stat points, All of these things do various stuff. They allow you to equip gear, so keep that in mind. You're going to need to have like at least 15 constitution if you want to put anything on heavier than, say, leather armor. You're going to need agility if you wanted to get some one-handed skills to add on into your right-click. Dexterity, it's going to give you attack rating because you can miss a lot in this game, and I've had entire runs get torpedoed by me not babysitting my attack rating well enough. Strength allows you to hit harder. Mind is going to give you more mana, and then intelligence is going to introduce you to this spell wheel right here, where just like in old school Diablo games, you got to press F keys, or like in Diablo 2 from what I recall. In Diablo 2, you only had the one ability over there, and you had to use like macros or something like that. It's been a long time since I dove into Diablo 2 like really hardcore. Probably almost 20 years, in all honesty, since I was super into Diablo 2. I've occasionally played the remaster, but from what I remember back in those days, you had to have like a macro or something to swap your abilities on the side. Being a paladin player, I definitely remember there being some kind of like supplementary thing that I had to have to rotate auras and things of that nature. I don't know what this does. It says something, and it looks like it gave me an idol. I never quite know what these things are doing. It'll say something cryptic at the top of the screen, and then I gotta go back through my stats and see if it like increased anything or reduced anything. One time it raised my strength, another time it gave me an enchanted item, another time I couldn't figure out what the hell it did, and so I do think that cryptic nature to the game actually makes it a lot more appealing and makes me want to track down a wiki. We've gotta do some stuff here. I'm gonna go with 2 points in Constitution for right now. I'm gonna put a little bit more into Dexterity because right now my weapon has 0 attack rating on it. Weapons in this game are randomly generated, so I've seen clubs that do incredible damage and also have incredible attack rating. I've seen swords that are all around doo-doo. I've seen swords that deal like 1 damage, but they hit every single time no matter what. Kind of depends what you get. We've got a very extreme club right now that basically one-shots everything on the first floor. However, it's not very accurate, and so that's sort of what we're dealing with right now, and I'm going to have to reciprocate that, or I guess not even reciprocate. I'm going to have to adjust my strategy for that by making sure that we have enough accuracy coming in from our raw stats to make up for the fact that, unfortunately, we're not going to hit very often. I need these wizard ladies to go down. Them and the big gorilla guy hit the hardest, so let's get them out of here. We've got Bloodlust over here. I'll think about it. I don't think I need the wooden shield. If I had 2 more intelligence, I could check out Bloodlust and see what it does. You get skills a number of different ways in this game. You have your balanced arts over here. Your balanced arts are the abilities that you get just by nature of having your weapons equipped. Your weapons kind of have these innate abilities, and you kind of pick and choose which one you want to specialize towards. But you also get other abilities that you learn from skill books as you move your way down through the dungeon. It's all the stuff that you would expect. So there's like a static discharge spell, there's a fireball spell, there's a summoning spell, and you're building your character from scratch. Every single character in this game is a blank template when you go down into the dungeon. For now, the big pickup that we've got, though, is that we've got multi-strike. And so we're going to be able to sort of do this routine that's very similar to something you would have seen in Diablo 2 if you've ever played a barbarian with double strike, or like was it Zeal? I forget the name of the ability for paladins in Diablo 2, where you right-click and they swing like a dozen times, and the entire point of the build is basically just to stack up a ton of things that proc off the top of it and then like auto bomb the map, and then you swing like 900 times per second. That's effectively what this ability is. Let's wipe out a couple of these cultists down here. I've got a lot of potions right now. Oh my god. Potions are what usually end my runs. I just don't have enough potions to make it any further, and then I end up getting just whacked by everything. We definitely need to work on our attack rating. We're missing too much right now. But level ups come pretty slow in this title, so it's going to take us a minute to get there. You may have noticed that there's no health bars. There's not really a lot of UI opportunities inside this title. I dug into that, and that was actually a conscious choice by the developer. He says that health bars break his immersion, so take from that what you will. If you want to see what the enemy has going on in terms of HP, sometimes it shows up down here in this little window, but they do take battle damage as you hit them more and more and more. They get bloodier and they seep further and further, and so it's usually not too hard to figure out how wounded something is just from the amount of scuffs and battle damage that they've got all over their bodies. What's my cape doing right now? 3 armor, 1 dodge, 4 dodge, 1 armor. I think I'm gonna go all out armor because I've had this problem as I've gone through the game getting stun locked. So basically, your character has a chance of getting staggered whenever he gets hit, and it seems to rely entirely upon your armor rating, whether or not that happens. And so, in order to avoid getting stun locked in the near future, it was a dead end with nothing inside of it. I'm going to focus on armor this time around. I feel like that's a smart decision since I'm going to be in the thick of it fighting with the enemy through the fray anyways. I don't know exactly how I want to deal with this room, but I guess we'll figure it out as we go. There we go. We managed to mash our way through it with relatively little damage taken. I was expecting that fireball spam to really whittle us down right there. Visually, I think they're on the mark, dude. I think they're on the mark visually. I think this is a game that very much looks like Diablo 1 with kind of an eye towards Diablo 2's sort of dark and nasty aesthetic. Oh my god, I'm getting annihilated by this fire guy over here. Come on. Oh man, I ain't landing nothing right now. A little unfortunate, but we got him. He dropped some stuff too, a masterwork cape. I've got a full inventory right now, so unfortunately that's not going to help me out too much. I'm going to ditch, I don't want to ditch the spell scroll. Oh wow, we have a lot of potions, man. I almost never have this amount of potions. This is pretty awesome. All right, we'll throw those all in there, and we'll get them loaded back up. A couple of, a thing about the aesthetic is, I think they could actually make the darks a little bit darker, and I think they could make the lights a little bit lighter to, contrast things up, and then reflective effects from the lights, I think would really bring this game's overall ambience to life. I'd also like to see an auto sort for the inventory, but as far as the aesthetic goes, I think they're actually really, really close to the mark for what a game like this is really seeking to look like with the light aura and all that kind of stuff. I think it's a decent looking game. Let's go through, and we've got a cape right here that's it's got 4 armor on. I'm gonna put on that cape right there. Hold on, I'm gonna swap my cape out. Your items do change color based on the type of item they are. They show up on your character. The designs and things change on them, which gives you a nice visual variety that I've enjoyed as I've been dungeon diving. Not a mimic. Good. I like it when it's not a mimic. Mimics are just a pain in my butthole. Over here, we've got a healing fountain. We can go back over to that. Normally, health potions are really in limited supply, so I've got to play a little bit more tactically than I am right now. But at the moment, I'm being super gung-ho about just running up on the enemy and not caring because I've got health potions for days. Eventually, eventually one of those is going to blow up and hurt me. A silver skull. In the couple hours that I've played, I haven't figured out what the silver skull is for. It says it's useful to someone, and so I'm guessing at some point there's going to be somebody that'll trade like a big batch of items or something like that for the silver skull when you can find them. I haven't seen any vendors or anything just yet either, but then again, I haven't made it that far into the game either. I've been dying catastrophically on like floor 4 or floor 5 every single time I go up into the tower, and so the game is not without its threats. Like, modern action RPGs usually spoon-feed the early game to you, and it's pretty impossible to die. Not the case with Tower of Kalemonvo. In fact, I would say it's almost a little roguelike-y in its propensity for killing the player. Ooh. Okay, she's got to go. She's shooting like a triple bolt. Yeah, she's got like a shotgun thing going on. I don't even know if it's worth it to go after her. Let me get my health back. It's a good thing we got all those potions, otherwise this would be going poorly. Let me get rid of her backup dancers real quick, and then I'm going to refill my potions. They don't like auto-fill in, which I wish that they did. So, I wish what you could do is either the potions stacked, and then you had them on, the 1 and the 2 key for health and mana, or maybe 1, 2, and 3, because there are hybrid potions in this game, too. I don't know how hard this is going to hit me. There we go. She's down. Anything nice in here? 1 to 5 Club of Chills. A steel club that's got 2 to 3 going on. Pretty bad loot roll, all things considered. I usually get excited when I see the enchanted boss mobs, but in this case, not so much. Oh my god in heaven. Okay, this is a new gag. Can't say that I've seen the game do this before. That is a lot of mimics. Luckily, if we can get them at this choke point right here, it's not as nearly as deadly as a room as it looks like. And these guys have a ton of loot. They tend to have better loot tables than everybody else. Are there more of them in here? because that was actually a nice little loot injection. I enjoyed that more than I expected to enjoy that. Okay, so what do we have in here? We have an Amulet of Sating. What's that going to do for me? It increases my mana by 3. That's okay. I'm not in love with it. We've got that Battle Axe right there is absurdly good, but I don't really like a lot of the axe abilities. But they might be helpful. Maybe we pivot. I mean, at the beginning of the game, it does tell you to be fluid about the way you approach the game. So maybe I should listen to the game and actually do that. But yeah, I think potion stacking and putting them on the 1, 2, 3 keys would be great. Having it auto-pull from your inventory after you use a potion would be great as well. I'm getting tired of loading up my potion bar, and so that's one of those pieces of quality of life that I think just needs to exist inside the confines of this game. 3 health right there. I'd rather keep the dodge. That one's got 3 to 7. We've got a durable wooden shield of ash. What does that do? Fire resistance. Fire resistance is nice. I'm going to lose some pretty serious armor, but honestly, I think this axe is too dope to walk away from. This might be a horrible mistake, but I've got level ups waiting. Let's put it all into strength. And we're pivoting. All the other stuff was kind of support anyways. So we've got a large axe of coagulation now. It's giving us 3 to 9 damage on 9 attack rating, which is enormous. Our attack rating is up to 15 now, so we've got an 80% hit chance. Hopefully that helps out. My general adventures with having two-handed weapons have never worked out for me very well, so I guess we'll have to play it by ear. I don't think we're going to come back to this corner of the dungeon, so I might as well do that. I think I saw the old man in a jail cell too. So on the first floor, there's always an old man in a jail cell that looks kind of like Deckard Cain. And if you give him a bunch of mana potions, he'll give you a loot explosion. I don't see him around, so we're just gonna go to the next floor. I'm probably missing his tile around here somewhere, but well, to the next floor. I need to get an ability lined up too for my combat arts. So I think I can use axe throw. No, I need 20 strength to hurl my weapon, but I can get final blow. So final blow gives you a plus 20 to your attack rating, which effectively makes it a guaranteed hit a lot of the time. And then it also gives you bonus damage, I think, based on where the enemy's HP is at. So we should start seeing some one-shots here, yeah. And if we can kill these guys before they even begin their attack cycle, that would be beautiful. We're on like a really good start right now. You don't know the context because I've been playing for hours and I've had bad runs that end in like the second room, and I've had like really, really good runs, and I think we've got a good run going for us right now. Drop those guys right there. Drop that guy right there. And I don't think there's anything in that corner. I'm going to need some more loot to round this out, though. I think we're almost at the first boss as well. The first boss, I think we should be fine going up against him. I don't think we'll have too many problems. This is an enchanting shrine right here. You can take an item and you can throw it on top of there and it'll get like bonus stats and stuff. I don't really, can I throw that on there? I can. An amulet of skulls. I've never tried throwing that on the enchanter before. Wow, a bunch of resistances and all my stats increased by 1. Don't mind if I do. Okay, got ourselves our first unique right there, pulling out the rad unique epics. They're not mythic or anything, but you know, they'll do. They'll do for now. Yeah, we've got the boss room up here. So let's go ahead and choke him out real quick. I was worried that would happen right before the boss. There we go, just drop him real quick. Are there more of them over here? There's a health potion over there, so we'll have that one on the ground. Just he's gonna freeze me. I'm gonna run away for a second.
No mana.
Oh, I've got no mana. Well, that's also not ideal. There we go. Just give it to him. Yup, both barrels. Let him have the entire mana bar. He should almost be down. He's down. It's good. We've got a precise ass-covered fetish idol of the cheetah. I don't want to touch that because I don't know what orifice it's been inside of. They said that this was a tower of depravity, and frankly, I'm noticing a very musky stink about everything inside of here. This right here gives you a couple of abilities that I haven't really toyed around with. It gives you a heal. That's going to allow you to heal yourself back up to full health, but if you use it 3 times, it's going to reduce your HP permanently by 2. And it also gives you another one for mana, just in case that's what you're into. Another thing I think they could retool to make the game better. So, like, you can emulate old styles and old pacings and old aesthetics perfectly fine, but I do expect those things to be wrapped up inside modern comforts that we expect from a modern game a lot of the time. It's more than possible for you to create a dark, difficult dungeon crawling game that does not have your players straining all over the place and, like, memorizing keys and things of that nature, like it's 1994. And so what I would suggest here is, with the potion stacking and, you know, the 1, 2, 3 thing that I talked about for your potions, what you should be able to do with these right here is assign them to, like, Q, W. I know it looks like it says that, but it's not. If I press the E key, it assigns that ability over to here, and then W. Worst case scenario, though, is that this should be, like, over here on this side so you can reference it real fast, so you can remember what ability is on what key, because my learning process has been very, very slow, but ultimately I would prefer that you just be able to assign those abilities to Q, W, E, R, and then just press those to trigger that ability, as well as having, you know, your right-click ability in there. I think having to open menus or having extra key presses just so you can right-click the exact same way you were previously right-clicking is sort of like muddying the water, I guess, when it comes to just the tactile feel of the game. I know that it's accurate for the time period, but there's a reason we've moved on from that. These guys are going to be very dangerous over here, so let's be careful about these little flamethrower skulls. The good news is we should usually be one-tapping them. Get him down. Aw, he had a fireball loaded up. I couldn't see the animation because I was attacking him from a back direction. There we go. Get you all knocked out. The fire resistance, dude. I have fire resistance now, right? No, I have ice resistance. I need fire resistance. Everything in these first couple floors is just like fire, 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 fire. That's got amazing armor value on it if I could just get my intellect up to like 12. But I don't know if I want to spend the points on it just yet. Every point is precious from what I've seen so far. Now, really, what always gets me in the next couple floors is that I end up with a really bad room arrangement that I just can't seem to break into, that usually has a lot to do with the fact that there's just a ton of archers spamming me, and then I get, like, stun-locked, and then I die horribly. Get you, get you. Yeah, if we could stop flamethrowering, that would be fantastic. Big-ass club right there. Take a look at the stats in just a second. Get myself healed back up real quick. Get you. There we go. Knock out a couple of those because I just got a bunch of free potions anyways. 5 to 14 with a 12 attack rating. I legitimately do not even remotely care. It's still a very slow attack speed, and it's just all around better than what I've got at the moment. So yeah, dude, give me a big ol' Og Bonk club, dude. Og, reporting for duty, ready to bonk. Let's check one of these other wings of the dungeon and kind of see what comes out here. A 6 to... How good is a spear? Like, what stats do you need for a spear? So, like, obviously, it's a two-hander, right? And it being a two-hander with average attack speed, I feel like if we can get a really nice enchanted spear... That's not a bit... There was the stun right there. You saw it. That's what always gets me, dude. That stun right there, dude. These little archers stun so much, bro. We've got 6 dodge, 3 armor leather right there. I would consider taking that. There's our stairs up to the next floor. But not before we dodge about 1,000,000 archers and try not to get speared with a whole bunch of projectiles. There we go. Just get them out of the way because I just cannot stand being stun-locked like that. A thick hood. Yeah, I'll take it. It's better than what I got on right now. Throw that on my character. That'll work out. Throw that on the ground. Throw that on the ground. If I can find an enchanting pool around here so that I can enchant this gear up, we'd be in really, really good shape. Treasure chest on that side with nothing inside of it. Ye oldie skunk chest. Hurtful. Very, very hurtful. Rusted gauntlets. Can I wear those? I can wear those, and they've got better stats than what I currently have on. So let's throw those on so we've got a little bit more armor for soaking these hits. Oof, missing with this weapon is one of the worst things that can possibly happen to me. It's not ideal. It's real bad. We are getting a little bit low on health potions here. I only have like 11 dozen left, and that makes me feel paranoid. However, action RPGs do have the distinction of being one of the few genres of games where I actually use my consumables instead of saving them until the game is over, thinking that I'm going to need them later, so... Big bug right there. Go ahead and gush him. That mace would be nice if it had an enchantment on it. Bookcase over here. I do think the game needs more knickknacks and doodads and stuff around, too. Just to make the game, like, feel a little bit more decorated, I guess. I think we're off and away in this direction. This appears to be one of the areas of the dungeon that I've not yet plumbed. And so let's plumb away at it, dude. I don't know what fruit has to do with anything, but sure. Get you. Get you. Oh my god. This is not good. This is real bad. That troublesome stun. There we go. We managed to pull them all back and get them whacked, but it took a lot of health potions to get it done, and one of the ways that I judge the progress of a run in this game is how many health potions and things I have stacked up. Please don't explode. Alright, got you. A leather armor with 6 dodge and 1 armor. If you could reverse that, I'd be pretty stoked. Like, if you could give me 6 armor and 1 dodge, that would be... Ooh, a 5/5 thick hood. Okay, now we're talking. See, I talked and the game listened. And we can just chuck that one on the ground. Like I said, I haven't seen any vendors or anything in the game yet in the amount of time that I've played it. This room might be a really terrible idea. This might be a super bad call. I guess it kind of depends how much I can one-shot over here. And if I can, like, get one of them each time I go around, we might be okay. Yeah, you've actually got a dodge in this game, which I kind of like, dude. Like, it's been a long time since I went out of my way to avoid anything in an action RPG. Like, you know the old routine in action RPGs, dude. You just stack up your resistances until it counters whatever, you know, phase of the game you're in, whatever torment level, whatever rift level or whatever, and then you just kind of, like, spin to win, dude. You just spin to win. This game, restoratives and whatnot kind of restoratives kind of limited, so... I've got to avoid stuff, otherwise the HP chunk just kind of adds up, and given the fact that you can't always get potions exactly when you want to get potions, that's a real bad thing. Oh, he didn't die. I mean, I feel like my caveman routine here is going okay. I'm about to level up, so I don't want to use a health potion, but I might be risking it for the biscuit right now. Like, I might be pulling a big stupid. Yeah, let's pull back and we'll deal with the bug over here. There's the level up that restored my HP. Good stuff. Alright, now I feel much more confident about being in this room. However, getting bogged down fighting a bug while there's a bunch of ranged enemies pounding on me right now was not inside my modus operandi of what I wanted to do either. Occasionally clicking on enemies can be a little bit finicky from what I've seen in the demo. Every now and again, I expect to be smiting an enemy, and instead, I don't know what ability I have on my bar right now. Is it charge? Yeah, it's charge. Okay.
I can't do that.
I think I need a runway for charge to work, though. I don't remember if it goes through everything on the way. We do have a level up, though, which means that I can get up to there. Probably should have put some into attack rating, but there was a plan in motion here. There was a thing that I wanted to do, and we want hurl weapon. Hurl weapon's pretty decent because it gives me a means to deal with large amassed groups of ranged characters. So I'm going to throw my weapon out, and it becomes an AoE that just kind of like smites everything on the way, which is very, very helpful. Like so. And then it comes back. Sometimes, if you can space it out right like Thor, you can get them on the return too, which is really nice. Got you. Please don't shoot me. Please stop that. Oh, a health potion. Look at you being the generous little skeleton that you are. Got you. We got anything with some armor on it around? Man, empty-ass treasure chests. Hurting my soul, making my body hurt. Ugh. But anyways, this is Tower of Kalemonvo. This is an interesting title because on one hand, it's a really good recreation of what early 90s sort of dungeon crawling, I guess mid 90s dungeon crawling RPGs felt like, and I think they've captured the aesthetic and the idea of Diablo 1 pretty well while adding on to it. But it's been a really long time since I've played those games. Like, it's been a while. I've played Diablo 2 a little bit, like on the remaster, but when I seriously dumped a ton of hours into it, that was way back in high school, almost 20 years now, and Diablo 1, sheesh, I was little, but this definitely reminds me of Diablo 1, and so this game is not going to be for everybody. It is a hardcore action RPG that's going the opposite direction of everything else in the industry. Action RPGs have consistently pushed further and further and further towards fast and furious gameplay, where you're blowing up the entire screen. This is a step in the other direction that remembers that Diablo 1 was almost a horror game, and there's supposed to be a creeping, unsettling sort of feeling every single time you open up a door to go into a new area, not sure whether you'll live or not. And so when it comes to the presentation and what the game is pitching, I like it, even though I prefer my action RPGs very fast-paced. So that's impressive. I came into this expecting kind of be like, it's outdated. I do think there's room for the game to lean into its own lore and its own personality a bit. I didn't really get that sense from the game other than, like, I want to be Diablo 1, and Tower of Kalemonvo needs to be its own game before it's ready for feature release. One area that I will say will matter on whether or not I end up playing this game a ton versus whether I end up fiddling around with it is just how much of the UI that they can get tooled up and brought up to modern standards. That's pretty much it. Having the one ability over there and then having like ancillary unnecessary key presses in order to swap the ability so that you can right click again, that's a very, very old school thing right there, and I feel like we've kind of moved past it. I'd also like the potions to stack and be on one button so I can just hit it real quick, but obviously the game developer has a very specific aesthetic and immersive design in mind. It's his artistic creation, and I don't think there's really anything too wrong with the game as it stands right now. I think it really plays best if you play it on hardcore. That's when it felt like it was really enjoyable to me, but to each their own. This is a title that I thoroughly enjoyed. I don't think I sat down expecting to play it for like 45 minutes this morning and ended up playing from like 8 till like 12, and so that's a good sign. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so you don't have to. Today it was Tower of Kalemonvo. Tomorrow it'll be something else. Thanks for hanging out with me, and that's about all I got for you. Bye, folks.